What's going on, everybody? It's a pretty exciting day today for crypto and the Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin just created an all-time high, and we are going to hear that a lot in 2024. Bitcoin constantly setting all-time highs. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about a Bitcoin miner that's actually down today. I think it's a good opportunity to talk about them. So we're going to go over Iris Energy or Iren, and we're going to look over their recent mining update. I'll also give you my thoughts on the chart there for Iren, and we'll take a look at Clsk. We do have a potential pattern to watch out for. People have been talking about it, so I'll show you what's going on there. Now, if you guys like these videos, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Check out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos, and let's get started. Bitcoin is continuing to try to push higher. We just today, for the first time in history, saw Bitcoin at $70,000. Now, one thing to be aware of is the other day when we broke all-time highs, we saw 69,000, almost 70,000. We did see a pretty quick flash crash. We saw roughly a 13% dip all the way down to 59,000 before quickly bouncing back up again, heading right back to where we initially were. I know I sound like a broken record here, but any pullback is a great buying opportunity. I really want to hammer that point home. Anytime we see a pullback, even if we're near all-time highs, by the time you're looking back from the end of 2024, these pullbacks will have been great buying opportunities. And I know I've shown you this before, but I also have a different take here for you guys. So every time each cycle for Bitcoin, we see the RSI on the monthly just absolutely go parabolic. We're not even there yet, not even close. This comes at the year after the halving, the parabolic year. This was in 2021. This huge run, huge overbought RSI on the monthly, 2017. So my expectation, just following history, you would likely see this in 2025. We may see it earlier, however, being that we saw the all-time high before the halving. Things seem to be kicking off a lot quicker. At the same time, I think this is solely due to the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We would not see all-time highs right now if it weren't for those being approved. Typically, Bitcoin sees all-time highs after the halving, and we're seeing all-time highs roughly a little over a month before the halving. So perhaps we also see the parabolic move when we move very, very overbought on the monthly RSI. This might come in late 2024. But I think this is what you have to watch out for. When we just get this crazily overbought RSI on the monthly, that's probably the time to start taking some profits. Whether it's in mid-2025, late 2024, just keep an eye on it. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying Bitcoin's overbought. I'm waiting for a sizable pullback. I'm waiting for 40,000, 50,000. And that's great. Good luck with that. But just know on longer term time frames, on weeklies, on monthlies, we have seen a much more overbought Bitcoin. I believe we are not anywhere near the peak of the cycle. This is just the beginning. Now I want to talk about Iris Energy, but they're changing their name to Iren now. So Iren stock is now Iren as well for the company name. But I want to go over their mining update. Lately, Iren has been very weak, but let's face it, a lot of the miners have been weak recently. However, on a day like this, to see pretty much most, if not all, the Bitcoin miners green, seeing Iris red might be a little discouraging for a lot of people. But I honestly think days like these are the days to look at these kinds of stocks. On a day where everything else is green and this is red, if there isn't some major reason to be worried, that is, I think it's a great opportunity to buy the stocks that are red while others are rallying. Everyone's got different strategies. Sometimes you follow the winner, hold on to the strongest stocks. I feel like I'm already doing that with my largest high conviction stock, Clsk, and I think it's a good idea to have multiple Bitcoin miners. Some people might not agree, but we have noticed them run at different times. You can potentially take profits on one while adding to another, playing things in different ways with the way that these run differently. I also think as you go down the list to the more riskier small cap miners, we could see them outperform, just being that they're such a small market cap. When money enters the space, they should blow up pretty nicely. However, there is high risk to them. There's a reason they're such a small market cap. Not only small businesses, but also risky businesses. But before I get carried away and sidetracked, let's look at Iren's energy update, mining update. Damn it. They mined 310 Bitcoin in February. This is actually a decrease month over month, but we have been pretty much seeing that across the board. Difficulty levels have been rising. So a lot of these Bitcoin miners are seeing monthly declines in monthly production. They currently have a record operating hash rate of 7 exahash, and they still have their 20 exahash per second expansion planned in 2024. Also, as of the last mining update, they did sign a contract with Poolside AI, now an expansion to 816 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. They rebranded their name to Iren. I like the name Iris Energy, but okay. And they also released their second quarter results somewhat recently. They beat revenue, they missed EPS, kind of saw a sell-off. Next quarter, they're expecting growth in revenue. I'm not really worried about Iren, but we did see their mining revenue grow month over month due to Bitcoin's price rising, considering they actually mined less coin. This isn't their best month for revenue. They did see a better month back in December. And look at what they say about their revenue for the month. Monthly mining revenue increased to 15.2 million, primarily due to higher average hash rate of 6.3. Right now they're at 6.7, keep that in mind. and a higher Bitcoin price of 49.1 thousand. Right now, Bitcoin's nearly 70,000. So next mining update, we should see a good increase in revenue even if we see less Bitcoin mined, mostly due to the fact that Bitcoin has risen pretty dramatically in price. And their expansion to 20 exahash by the end of 2024, the 10 exahash they're working on the first half of 2024, they have 3 exahash remaining. And by the end of the year, getting to that 20 exahash, they do have 10 exahash of new miners secured via fixed price contracts. And there's at their single site expansion in Childress, Texas. Their contract was secured with the leading AI company Poolside. We talked about this in one of the last updates. This is an initial 3-month term with an extension option for additional 3 months up to the customer. And there are additional customer conversations that are ongoing. They're also tripling their AI cloud service business, fast-tracking their AI cloud service to 816 NVIDIA H100s with the purchase of 568 additional GPUs, with the delivery and commissioning of these additional GPUs expected during Q2 of 2024. And financing of their work streams are underway to support growth. And here's basically their roadmap or their planning for all their exahash growth. We have different sites here. Their Childress site, different phases that they're under. Now the 3 exahash expansion to get them to 10 exahash is under construction, with the timing expected in the first half of 2024. We went over that. And of course the additional 10 exahash in the second half of 2024 under construction as well in Childress. Now I do want to talk about Iris Energy on the chart, or Iren on the chart. It's going to be difficult for me to say their name right now. And I believe I posted this on my Discord. Someone was asking about where Iris is likely to move. Iren is likely to move, sorry again. And I basically said, we're going to test this 6. We're either going to bounce on 6, head to 680, or we're going to break 6 and we're going to head to 550. Well, we did break 6. We didn't head to 550. We headed down to 5. That psychological level of support. If we do break 5, there's a possibility we head to our gap down here. I wouldn't necessarily wait on it. I wouldn't necessarily wait with the cash just to buy here. I would buy into the gap fill on the break of 5, including buying at 5. I'm not scared to buy Iris Energy here. It is now sold off roughly 40% from its recent peak. I think now's a great time to buy in on this dip. And right now we're sitting at 533. It does look like we bounced off of this 5, but if we go and retest that 5, we might break that and test our 200 MA first before potentially trying to fill this gap in the mid to low 4s. I'm a little bit concerned that if we continue to see more pain, we could potentially see a death cross, especially if we break our 200 MA. But currently we're still riding on our recent golden cross. These haven't flipped yet, although the 50 is curling down pretty hard because of this recent pullback. So I really want to see us bounce here and start running again. Don't see the 50 and the 200 MA flip and show us a death cross. That would kind of suck. I kind of find it unlikely here. We would have to be considerably under this 200 MA and for a decent amount of time to see this 50 MA go all the way down there to flip it. But, maybe if we have an extended time down here to fill our gap, it is possible. I do find it unlikely, however, but it's something to look out for and be aware of. But overall, Iris Energy is looking great. Still heading upwards. There are going to be pullbacks along the way. But, it's still roughly a 5x from the bottom. I do believe Iris Energy will run in price, especially once we get through this halving. I think the market is trying to price in the rewards getting cut. And it seems like the market right now is ignoring the fact that Bitcoin is very likely to continue to rally and more than make up for the rewards getting cut in half over the next couple of months. So I remain bullish on Iren. I think now is still the time to be getting into the Bitcoin miners, especially with this recent drop. Of course, they could fall more, but I do think this is a great chance to buy. I also want to talk about CleanSpark, a very different chart, and there's something that a lot of people are talking about here. His potential head and shoulders here. There's the first shoulder, the head, and then we're working on the second shoulder. I do think if we can have another rally day, if we can break over 20 and, just start kind of running into the 20s, this would invalidate the pattern. If we do find resistance, start pulling back down, it is very possible that we head down towards the 16 area. Now, there's a lot of people that didn't take advantage of the recent pullback. A lot of people that were saying, like, I'm going to wait for 10, I'm going to wait for 12. And that's fantastic, stick to your plan. But just realize that, a lot of people are saying that because of this gap here. And yes, gaps more often than not are likely to fill. However, this was a gap up on really good earnings, profitable quarter actually, profitable earnings, huge. And this was also a gap up on huge volume. And I'm not talking about just big volume. I'm talking about the type of volume we haven't seen since the previous cycle. So I'm personally on the side of saying we're not going to see this gap fill, but be ready just in case it does, if that makes sense. But in my opinion, you got to be buying into any short-term weakness on CleanSpark. This company is going to do very well over the long term. This company is going to remain among the top miners, if not one day flipping Mara and becoming a top miner, and I'm extremely confident in CleanSpark for the long term. To me, this is my highest conviction miner, but that doesn't mean there aren't other miners that I like, other miners that I want to diversify into, potentially other miners that are much smaller cap that might move more because it'll take less money to move the stock price. But that said, I am most bullish on CleanSpark for the long term. Most, if not all of these other miners I see kind of as just swings on the halving. Whereas CleanSpark, I'll always at least hold a little bit. Yes, I'm going to trim, hopefully near the top in 2025, late 2024, but I'm always going to hold a little bit of CleanSpark because I 100% do believe in the long term of this company. But you got to realize that with Bitcoin, we are going to see these huge swings where we get overvalued and these huge swings when we get undervalued. And I do think the cycles are still going to play out. The 4-year cycle, we are going to see a crypto winter. It might not be as severe as previous, but that's just my suspicion. I could always be wrong. We could just continue running in perpetuity and never see a crypto winter in the future, or what's referred to as a crypto winter. Maybe it turns into just 10%, 20% pullbacks along the way. But thanks for watching, guys. Sorry, my battery cut off, so that kind of stopped my rant there. What do you think about CleanSpark? What do you think about Iris Energy? Do you think CleanSpark's going to play out its head and shoulders and we head back towards 16, 15 area? And do you see Iris Energy filling its gap down to the low 4s? On any weakness, I think it's a good idea to pick up the Bitcoin miners. Many are going to see profitability after the halving, in my opinion. Many of them are going to see insane revenues they've never seen, and there will be a lot of hype. People are going to be looking at Bitcoin proxies as Bitcoin rises, as people look for what hasn't ran necessarily, and people are going to flock into the miners. It's a matter of time. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good weekend.